Chan had been feeling overwhelmed for weeks. His days were full of responsibilities, tasks, and expectations from others. In his village, he had become well known for his work and wisdom, and people often came to him for advice and help. But the more time he spent helping others, the more he felt like he had no time for himself. He was tired, distracted, and no longer felt the inner peace he used to have on his spiritual journey. One day, Chan realized he needed help. He decided to make the long journey to the temple, where a monk, his teacher and friend, lived. The monk had always been able to give Chan the guidance he needed when he felt lost. By the time Chan arrived at the temple, the sun was beginning to set. The air was fresh and quiet, and apart from the sound of birds, there was only the soft rustling of the wind. The monk sat as usual on the stone steps of the temple, peacefully meditating and taking in the world around him. Chan sat next to him, staying silent for a moment, simply watching the monk's calm presence. After a few minutes, the monk opened his eyes and looked at Chan. "I can see something is troubling you, Chan," the monk said softly. "What brings you here?" Chan sighed deeply. "Master, I feel like I'm losing myself. Every day I have so many things to do. I try to help others, fulfill my duties, but it's draining me. I don't have any time for myself. I feel tired, and I've lost the inner peace I once had. What should I do?" The monk was silent for a moment, as if choosing his words carefully. Then he stood up and motioned for Chan to follow him. They walked together to a small garden behind the temple, where flowers and herbs grew. At the edge of the garden, there was a small spring, bubbling quietly into a stone pond. The monk sat down by the pond and gestured for Chan to sit as well. "Look at this water, Chan," the monk began, pointing to the still surface of the pond. "What do you see?" Chan looked at the water and replied, "I see my reflection, and the water is calm." The monk smiled. "Yes, the water is calm. But imagine if you started throwing stones into it. What would happen?" "The water would ripple," Chan said. "Exactly," said the monk, as he picked up a small stone. He tossed it into the pond, and the water immediately rippled. "This is what your life looks like right now, Chan. Every day, you throw new stones into your calm pond, duties, stress, expectations from others. The water becomes restless, and you can no longer see your reflection clearly. Your peace disappears. And just like this water, you need time to become still again." Chan thought for a moment. "But how can I find that time? Everyone needs something from me. There's always something I have to do. How can I make time for myself?" The monk looked at Chan's troubled expression and smiled once more. "Chan, you won't find peace by waiting for all your tasks to disappear. You have to create that peace yourself. You must decide to make time, even when it feels difficult. Taking time for yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. When you care for others, you can't give them your best if you're not at peace with yourself." "But how do I do that?" Chan asked, sounding desperate. The monk raised a finger and pointed at the flowers around the pond. "Look at these flowers, Chan. Each one has its own time to grow and its own time to rest. Just like them, you need time for yourself. It's not about having more time, it's about making time." The monk then stood up and led Chan back to the temple. "Come with me. I want to show you something," he said. He took Chan to a small room where a simple mat and a single candle stood. The monk lit the candle and motioned for Chan to sit down. "Every day, Chan, you need to find a moment, even if it's just a few minutes, to be alone with yourself. You can start with this small space. Sit down, breathe, and be present in the moment." You don't need much time. Just a few minutes of silence and focus will help you find your peace again. Chan sat down and closed his eyes. He heard the soft flickering of the candle and felt the quiet around him. The monk left the room, leaving Chan alone. After a few moments, Chan began to focus on his breathing. Each breath felt deeper, and each exhale brought more relaxation. When he opened his eyes, Chan felt something new, a small sense of peace that he had been missing lately. It wasn't a magical feeling, but it was a start of finding time for himself and rediscovering inner calm. When Chan returned to the courtyard, the monk was waiting for him. "How do you feel?" the monk asked. Chan smiled. "For the first time in a long while, I felt calm, even if just for a moment." The monk nodded. "You must nurture that calm every day, Chan. Don't wait for someone else to give you free time. Find it yourself. Every day, no matter how busy, you deserve a moment for yourself. In those moments, you'll reconnect with yourself, let go of stress,